Hello, this is Elena and my channel Enough. Today I'm saying enough of Putin, enough of Russian aggression in Ukraine, enough of Russian threats to destroy the world. Today, on September 30th, 2022, Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, who basically usurper in my country, declared that Russia is annexing territories in Ukraine. We will remember this day as one of the terrible days in the history of our planet. Today, as I saying, is a day of beginning of complete isolation and complete destruction of Russia. And the fault of that is on Vladimir Putin, Russian president. I really hope that today is not the beginning of World War III, but it's very close. And again, Putin is at fault. In 2014, Vladimir Putin and his regime started a war in Ukraine. Senseless, useless war by annexation of Crimea and 2 territories in Donbass, Ukraine. And today, Putin grabbing these lands and attaching them to Russia. And the fake, false referendums he pretends to have on these territories, which Russia has no rights to make referendums in somebody else's country, it doesn't change anything. That's what we can learn today. I will show you some speeches of Vladimir Putin, President of Russia, of Vladimir Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine, and a little bit about the briefing in press conference in Brussels with Mr. Stoltenberg, NATO, General Secretary of NATO. And so this is what happened today. But before, we will talk a little bit about history remembers everything. Right now, with internet, with video, with everything technology we have, it is silly to think that somebody's deeds will stay covered. We remember, and internet remember, everything politicians said. This is what Vladimir Putin was saying about war in Ukraine, about territorial grabs of the territory. This is what he said back then. Let's see what was in the past.
В наши планы не входит оккупация украинских территорий.
It's not in our plans to occupy the territories of Ukraine. This is February 24th, 2022, the day when Putin started full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and his neighbor's country, who has nothing to do with this war.
Мы никому и ничего не собираемся навязывать силой.
We won't force anybody by use the force to push people or anybody. We're not going to use the force to make people do what we want or something like that.
Появление российских войск под Киевом и у других городов Украины связано не с намерением оккупировать эту страну.
16th of March 2022. Putin is saying that Russian forces appeared near Kiev and some other places in Ukraine. It is not because we want to occupy this country. It is not because of that.
У нас нет такой цели.
We don't have aim like that to occupy Ukraine.
Мы сделаем все, чтобы обеспечить безопасные условия для проведения референдума.
And on September 21st, 2022, he is already saying that we will do everything to provide safe referendums on these territories. Just a few months ago, as you just saw, Putin is saying that Russia is not thinking about occupying Ukraine or grabbing its territories, and now Russia is making referendums on these territories. In my video about Silence of the Lambs, Russian style, I'm talking about those referendums, how they were done, but it's not the point. The point is Russia grabbed Ukrainian territories and make their fake referendums without any rights to do so whatsoever.
Для того, чтобы люди могли выразить свою волю.
Yeah, people could express their will. You will see in my video how they safely expressing their will when there are people with machine guns coming to their door, right to their door of their apartment, and forcing them to vote, and many other things.
Мы будем стремиться к демилитаризации.
So this is what Putin was saying back then. This is what he is saying now.
Вы знаете, в Донецкой и Луганской народных республиках, Запорожской и Херсонской областях состоялись референдумы.
As you know, in Donetsk and Lugansk People Republics, Zaporozhye region and Kherson region, there were referendums. There happened referendums.
Их итоги подведены, результаты известны.
We know the results of the referendums.
Люди свой выбор сделали.
People did their choice. Yeah, under the machine guns. He didn't say that. That's my comment.
Однозначный выбор.
People made their one-way choice. There is no doubt about their choice. That's what he's saying.
Сегодня мы подписываем договоры о принятии в состав России Донецкой Народной Республики, Луганской Народной Республики, Запорожской области и Херсонской области.
Today we are signing the documents about taking inside Russian Federation as a part of Russian Federation. Donetsk People Republic, Lugansk People Republic, Zaporozhye region, and Kherson region, which is again not the full regions of Zaporozhye and Kherson even voted. Over 12 million Ukrainians left the country because of the war Putin started. And now he's talking about that the Russian Federation grabbing territories of Ukraine and taking them into Russian Federation.
Уверен, что Федеральное собрание поддержит конституционные законы о принятии и образовании в России 4 новых регионов.
Oh, he's saying he believes that the Constitutional Council will support and confirm attaching those 4 regions to Russian Federation. So here you just saw how Putin lied to people. And this is about conversations between Putin and Zelenskyy. Not conversations, but parts of the speech of Vladimir Putin, President of Russia, and Vladimir Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine. This is part of today's speech of Putin.
И их реальные хозяева на Западе.
I want to be heard by Kiev authorities and their real owners, real masters from the West. That's what people think. Ukraine doesn't have their own will. They are puppets of the West.
Чтобы это запомнили все.
So everybody remember that.
Люди, живущие в Луганске, Донецке, Херсоне и Запорожье,
People who is living in Lugansk and Donetsk, Kherson and Zaporozhye,
становятся нашими гражданами.
becoming our citizens
Навсегда.
forever. Yes, he's speaking in that kind of tone of voice. It's a threat. It's a dominance. He's trying to dominate the democratic world by saying it in that kind of tone of voice. I did it. What are you gonna do about it? That's the message he's sending to all of us.
Вся територія нашої держави буде звільнена від цього ворога.
Mr. Zelenskyy speaking Ukrainian. That's why I'm translating. I understand what he's saying and I'm translating you the... Actually, there is Russian subtitles here too. He's saying that all territories of our state will be liberated from the enemy.
Ворога не тільки України.
The enemy not only Ukraine, but the whole enemy of the life, of the humanity, of the law and of the truth.
Але й самого життя, людяності, закону і правди. Росія вже знає це.
Russia already know that. It feels our power.
Відчуває нашу міць. Бачить, що саме тут, в Україні, ми доводимо силу наших цінностей.
Here in Ukraine, and Russia see it, we are proving the force of our values, moral standards.
І саме тому вона поспішає, влаштовує цей фарс і спробує анексії.
That is why Russia is rushing to annex those territories. It's trying to steal something which doesn't belong to Russia.
Намагається вкрасти те, що їй не належить. хоче вбивствами, знущаннями, шантажем і брехнею
Russia wants by the murders, torture, and blackmail and lies
переписати історію і перемалювати кордони.
rewrite the history and redraw the borders. Ukraine will not allow to do that.
Україна цього не допустить.
Мы призываем киевский режим немедленно прекратить огонь, все боевые действия, ту войну, которую он развязал.
We are telling Ukrainian regime to stop the fire immediately. The war what they started even in 2014.
Еще в 2014 году и вернуться за стол переговоров.
And get back to the table of the conversation, of the negotiation table. This is not the offer. I know Russian very well, and I'm telling the people who doesn't know the language, the message Putin is saying here, the tone of voice he's saying it, it's not a negotiation, it's not an offer, it's an order. The order you're giving to your dog. To me. Now. That's exactly how it sounds in Russian. That's exactly how Putin meant it to be sound. It's not negotiation. It's not about peace talk. It's an order to independent country of Ukraine to run to his leg like a dog and sit at it.
Мы к этому готовы. Об этом не раз было сказано.
We are ready for it. We told about it several times.
Но выбор народа в Донецке, Луганске, Запорожье и Херсоне обсуждать не будем. Он сделан. Россия его не предаст.
We won't discuss the choice of people in those four republics, regions. That choice is made, and Russia wouldn't betray it.
Україна була і залишається лідером в переговорних зусиллях. Саме наша держава завжди пропонувала Росії домовитись.
Ukraine is a leader in the negotiation. Ukraine offered it many times, and our state always offered Russia to agree.
Про співіснування на рівних, чесних,
To coexist with equal, honest, noble, and fair terms.
гідних і справедливих умовах. Очевидно, що з цим російським
Obviously, it's not possible with this Russian president in power. It is not possible.
президентом це неможливо. Він не знає, що таке гідність і чесність.
He doesn't know what is honor, self-respect, and honesty.
Тому ми готові до діалогу з Росією, але вже з іншим президентом Росії.
We are ready to dialogue with Russia, but with different president of Russia. I don't blame Mr. Zelenskyy because Putin lied so many times, as you just clearly saw in this one little video. There is no point to talk to him. Either Russia would have a new president, or there would be no peace talk.
Мы будем защищать нашу землю всеми имеющимися у нас силами и средствами. И сделаем все, чтобы обеспечить безопасную жизнь наших людей.
Putin is saying that we will defend our territory by all means and all things we have in power, in whatever we have. We will do everything to create peaceful life for our people. If he wanted to do peaceful life for his people, he shouldn't have started the war and shouldn't have threatened the world with nuclear weapons. In this speech, as in his previous one, this piece is a clear threat to the world that he will use anything, include nuclear weapons, which I hope he wouldn't. Otherwise, today will be the day of World War III and the destruction of our planet. But Putin make it clear that it is a threat, and he wants the world to know that it is a threat.
В этом великая освободительная миссия нашего народа.
I'm gonna laugh so hard right now. He said it's a great liberating mission of our people. The little dictator talking about liberating missions. Unbelievable.
Саме в Україні вирішується доля демократії в протистоянні з тиранією.
Exactly in Ukraine, right now, it's a fate of democracy is at stake when democracy is withstand tyrant. We withstand to a tyrant.
Саме тут, міцністю наших державних кордонів, ми можемо закріпити міцність кордонів усіх європейських держав.
Here, protecting our borders of our country, we are protecting borders of all European states. And he's right. Right now, Zelenskyy and Ukraine is the only thing which is standing between Russian tyrant, Putin, and Europe.
Ми де-факто союзники. Це вже досягнуто.
He is saying that Ukraine and Europe de facto allies. This has already happened.
Де-факто ми вже пройшли свій шлях в НАТО.
De facto we already walked our way to NATO.
Сьогодні Україна подає заявку, щоб зробити це де-юре.
Right now Ukraine today applied to join NATO de jure, so by the law.
За процедурою, яка відповідатиме нашому значенню для захисту всієї нашої спільноти.
And this procedure will protect our society. So this is what parts of what saying Zelenskyy and whatever was saying Putin. And it's not all what happened today. Today is also the Russian Federation shoot at the humanitarian convoy in Ukraine.
Украинцы, украинки. Враг начал этот день с сознательного и абсолютно просчитанного убийства украинцев в Запорожье. Ракет.
This is the Zelenskyy talking to the Ukrainians, to Ukrainian people, and saying that the enemy, the Russian Federation, started today from the calculated attack on humanitarian convoy.
Удар по гражданской автоколонне.
It was a civilian columns of the cars.
По состоянию на данный момент 30 погибших, почти
At this point, 30 people dead
100 раненых и
and almost 100 wounded.
травмированных. Российские военные знали, куда попадут их ракеты. Это
Russian military knew where their rockets will, who are they shooting at.
сделали изверги. От первого до последнего.
This is not humane, whatever it's done. So this is that day in history. This is what Ukrainian this is what said Ukrainian President's advisor, Mr. Podolyak. You didn't want escalation? Here it is. By annexation of territories, by nuclear threats and total mobilization, Russia is telling to the whole civilized world, what are you gonna do now? Moscow is trying to put democracy on its knees. Should we continue talking about how not to provoke Putin and not to, he didn't say Putin, how not to provoke and not escalate the war? This is the opinion of Ukraine. And this is the opinion of General Secretary, NATO Secretary General, Jens Stoltenberg, on the press conference he has today.
The sham referendums.
We're listening to the NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg giving a press conference. Let's listen in
total violation of international law. This land grab is illegal and illegitimate. NATO allies do not and will not recognize any of this territory as part of Russia. We call on all states to reject Russia's blatant attempts at territorial conquest. These lands are Ukraine. Donetsk is Ukraine. Luhansk is Ukraine. Kherson is Ukraine. Zaporizhzhia is Ukraine, just like Crimea is Ukraine. This is the second time Russia has taken Ukrainian territory by force.
So,
you could save thousands of dollars.
Basically, you can see that yourself. this speech. What I want to say that this is important day in history. Unfortunately, we come to this. And I hope it's not gonna escalate into nuclear war or World War III. But we close. As to Russia, while Putin in power and the war continues, the destruction of my country, one of my countries, Russia, is unavoidable. And I blame for that Putin, and I'm saying that no to that war, no to Russian aggression, no to annexation of territories of neighboring country. Putin started the war, the biggest war in Europe since 1945. And annexation of this territory is the outrageous, illegal, and immoral, and nobody would in the world from any civilized countries would ever accept that. Please help Ukraine. Stay alive and have a good day or evening. Thank you for watching.